rental partner here in the Maritimes region, Moncton, Harley Davidson. They're the only motorcycle rental outlet in Canada's Maritimes. Way to go, boys.
Kid, the bridge was too long for my camera. I took 2 pictures and then connected them together with masking tape.
So we're ahead of schedule, so we're going to Port Carlton tourist trap essentially, and get some EI cows and ice cream.
name of the
went to
place
last
we
night.
went
The
to?
Old Triangle Ale House.
Okay.
Old Triangle Ale House, Irish pub. We listened to some Irish music, and I really liked the T-shirt that was there. So I ended up
Yeah,
trading.
tell me the story of the T-shirt. What happened? Because I wasn't there.
Oh, because it was an Irish T-shirt. I'm Irish, so it had a really cool logo on it and everything. And so I asked the lady if they had them for sale. She said no, and she went back to her
Private
locker,
stash.
yeah, and grabbed one of her own personal ones and gave it to me. So I pulled my Nessie Burger shirt from Fallbrook, California, off my back and gave it to her. So we exchanged shirts. It was super cool. Nice people. It was a great time.
Oh yeah, everyone
Good
there
music.
was so nice.
Yeah,
Everybody
blast.
told me that the people in Canada are so nice, and they truly are.
So today we are continuing our journey. Today's day number 4 of Ride Canada's Maritimes. So over to Rob, talk about what we're doing today.
Well, first thing I'm going to do is work on your math. We actually got here 2 days ago. Yesterday was our ride around Prince Edward Island. Today we're leaving Prince Edward Island via the Northumberland ferries, heading over to Pictou. Then we're going to stay on coastal routes, go past Cape George Lighthouse, then over the Canso Causeway onto Cape Breton Island. As much as they would love to think they're their own province, they're not. They're part of Nova Scotia. We're going to go there because that's the home of the Cabot Trail.
Right.
We're going to spend 2 nights in Badek.
Freedom Biker Tours, and we are at the Cape George Lighthouse. And where is it, Rob?
Nova Scotia.
Yeah, well, I know it's Nova Scotia.
world famous Cabot Trail biker.
Beautiful blue sky. You just imagine 120 years ago, James McCurdy flowing that lake right there, in that plane, like something like the Wright brothers, right?
Yep.
Just
Yep.
first man-powered flight in Canada. Right. And we have a special guest star with us today, Daniel Ross, the infamous Cabot Trail biker. Take it away, boys.
So today we're going to head out of here and go up to a place called Cape Smoky, which has got some nice viewpoints and some really nice corners that we were discussing earlier. They did some renovations to the last few years and still kept the corners in.
Yeah, Cape Smoky kept the serpentine section at the bottom, which was for no other reason but to spoil motorcyclists. It's really fun. I can't wait to enjoy it with all the guests here today. There's 27 rest stops through the park. If I see that we're holding up traffic, I will just dip in. And when I go into a rest stop, that doesn't mean take off all your clothes and get naked. I might just pull in. And if I'm ever on a remain on the road type thing, I always stay really close to the white line. So even if there's a pull off with a big thing, I just stay close to the road, and that's just to alleviate traffic. We don't want to be holding anybody up. If you're going down a hill, if you take your hand off the throttle like that, your bike should slow down. That's all you have to remember. If you take your hand off the throttle and you still roll forward, you are in too high of a gear. So you want to have the same feeling of control as going uphill, downhill. You just gear down. You don't have to be sounding like you're going to blow up, but your test is take your hand off the throttle. If your bike slows down, you're in the correct gear. This is just another example to hook up with your tour, so thanks, JD. But just to meet people and have them enjoy, it's a real compliment when people say they enjoy riding in my backyard, and I just love it. I'm very passionate about it. I love motorcycling, and I love seeing people on vacation, and like you said, it makes people happier. It's good for the mind. It's awesome. Motorcycling is awesome.
It's throttle therapy.
Okay, we're at a rest stop here at the one that overlooks Shedda Camp, and Cap Rouge, I believe it's called. And there's a beautiful monument here. It's one of the most popular rest stops. You can't go by this one if you're on the Cabot Trail. And I met a woman from Montreal. She was speaking French, so I wanted to know if she was Francophone or Acadian, and she's from Quebec, so it's pretty cool. And so I asked her if she'd go on my bike, and she said yes, first time on a motorcycle. So we're taking her to the ice cream stop.
We're halfway. This is the halfway mark of the 10-day tour. So over to Rob.
So today we're leaving Bedeck and heading down to Halifax. We're going to take a leisurely scenic tour going through Sherbrooke, Nova Scotia, then down through the Musquodoboit Harbor. And if you want to look that up, it's hard to spell. And then we're just going to continue along the coast into the Halifax region, going down Barrington Street right up to the hotel. We're staying at the Hampton Inn by Hilton on Brunswick Street, just down from Scotiabank Center. And then there'll be a nice 3 nights there as we really check out Halifax.
Yeah, doing a walking tour tomorrow with my friend Duncan at Tamac Tours, and a tall ship cruise on the harbor tomorrow night, and dinner at the Old Triangle Irish Ale House or something like that, right?
They just call it the Old Triangle.
The Old Triangle, but it's an Irish pub on the waterfront in Halifax. And then on Tuesday, we're going down to Peggy's Cove in Lunenburg, and the tour continues.
Pleasure, Daniel. What really was.
And it is a gorgeous day in Canada's Maritimes. Duncan from Tamac Tours.
Hi, how are you doing, Joe?
We're standing in the Citadel, which is the big old fort in the center of town. And we're on a walking tour today with Duncan from Tamac Tours.
So we're starting up here at the Halifax Citadel National Historic Site. And from here, we're going to be making our way down to the oldest Victorian-style gardens in Canada, the public gardens, and then eventually making our way down to the waterfront, showing some more historic buildings and such, and then eventually going on our harbor cruise on the tall ship Silva.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground. Won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. I'll stand my ground. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I won't back down. Oh, I know I tried. I got just one life. And I'll keep this world from tearing me down. I'll stand my ground. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I won't back down.
What are we doing today, Road Captain Rob?
Well, today it's we're going to head out of here in the fog. We've got the rain gear on because the fog out here is very thick, and so you will get it beating off on you. That's why we got the rain gear, because not expecting rain.